So welcome back. We're still speaking about how one man embodies the collective shadow of the United States, not the only person, but a public figure. And I'm going to speak now to a little bit about what preceded the COVID-19 pandemic, the global pandemic that obviously had a major impact in the United States. So on January 22nd, 2017, 2 days after his inauguration, Donald Trump began to set the stage for his general dismissal of science, which I believe 3 years later would inform his initial denial of and subsequently failed response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So in 2017, again, right after his inauguration, he ordered the removal of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, known as PCAST, website, along with links to all of its reports from the White House website. Now, PCAST had been founded in 1990 by President George Herbert Walker Bush and had received heightened attention during the 8 years of the Obama administration. The importance of science and technology in many areas of the United States functioning and global functioning, but especially in the world of medicine. So tied in with that, prior to Donald Trump becoming president of the United States, and because of the influences and the fears around the 2009 and 2014 Ebola outbreaks, the swine flu in 2009 and the Ebola outbreak in 2014, President Obama appointed Ron Klain, who would go on to become President Biden's original chief of staff, as coordinator of the White House Ebola response. And as a result of that experience, in 2016, before the election, Ron Klain warned that the next president may very likely face, quote, a catastrophe of historic proportions, end quote, and that amid the risks like climate change, terrorism, and nuclear weapons, quote, the single most likely cause of such a nightmare scenario is an oft-overlooked one, pandemic illness, end quote. Klain continued, advising that a, quote, future epidemic could be transmitted by airborne means, break out in a nation with a global megacity or in a city or in a center of commercial power that sends thousands of travelers around the world each day, end quote. He went on to recommend 6 measures that the next president, whoever it might be, should take to continue and enhance America's readiness. You can find that report from Ron Klain online. In the book, it's footnoted. I'm not going to give you the link right here, right now. And there are other examples of what was in place, the warnings that were given by informed people when Donald Trump became president, and for whatever reasons, his early dismissal of the importance of science as one of the tools available to a sitting president. So again, thank you for staying with me on this. We're speaking about how Donald Trump embodies the collective shadow of the United States. And again, not just him, but because he was a president and he still remains a public figure and has been most of his adult life, it's important that we see the role he plays in this ongoing history and psychological assessment of our country. So thank you again for staying with me.